Yeah, it's recording.
We're on.
Yes,
Okay.
we are. See, we've had some technical difficulties, so we're just going to laugh.
And say good evening.
And say good evening.
For the 5th time.
For the 5th time. And hope you can hear us.
Welcome to Teen Christian Ministries Live. It is girls' night.
It is.
No boys.
No boys.
No boys. Obviously, as you can see.
No boys.
Just
I am
Leslie.
not Larry. I am Leslie. But we do want, if you are a boy, we do want you to tune in, right?
Yes, absolutely. Stay, because it's going to be an interesting show. We're going to get inside the female psyche a little bit.
Yes, unlocking the female mind. Yes.
Put your seatbelts on.
Exactly.
It might be a little scary, and in fact, we're going to go ahead and open up with prayer on that note.
That would be great. Dear Jesus, we thank you. First of all, we thank you that we're up and running, that the enemy couldn't hold us down. And God, we pray that you would be with us tonight, Lord, as we speak. We pray that we would glorify you with the words that we use. But more importantly, God, well, not more importantly, but definitely importantly, we pray that those that join us tonight would feel your love and would not feel condemnation, but compassion that is never failing in you. God, I pray that as we present to them what love is, what love truly is, God, that they would not harden their hearts, but they would open their hearts to experience the fantastic, amazing love that you have for each of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So we have a ministry spotlight
We do.
tonight. Yeah, and I would like to share that with y'all. It's going to be Mercy Ministries is who we'd like to spotlight tonight. Mercy Ministries is a fantastic organization,
They really
foundation. It was started by Nancy Alcorn, and it was started for girls that are from the ages of, what did we say?
13 to 28.
13 to 28. Any girl that is struggling with addiction, self-injury, which could be cutting themselves or eating disorder, anything that causes them bodily harm. Drug addiction, I said that. Depression, teen pregnancy. If you're at that point where you feel overwhelmed and overcome and you wonder if you're going to be able to make another day, I would really encourage you to check out Mercy Ministries. They can be found online and very easily through the TCM LIVE website. If you will click on our resources page, it will tell you all about Mercy Ministries, what they do, and how to get in touch with them, and there's a link that will connect you straight to their website.
One of the things I love about Mercy is they don't just treat so many recovery centers, they treat a sickness
Right.
or what's wrong with you, so to speak. But
Right.
Mercy treats you as a whole person.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about Mercy.
Yeah, we said earlier, but I would like to say again, their graduation ceremonies are just phenomenal, because when you see a girl who has just absolutely been through hell, and I mean that in every essence of the word,
Right.
and you see the light of Christ and the love of God dawn on her, and she is released from the enemy's lies, and she is renewed and believes that she is a new creation. It's just something that you never forget. There are no words. I'd also like to say tonight, hello to Jamie Arledge, who's in Marshall, Texas. She is Larry Roy's sister, and he always neglects to mention her. So I would like,
Shame.
yeah, so I would like to mention her tonight because we love her, and she is family.
So tonight we're talking about love, dating from a girl's point of view.
Yeah, we are. And, you know, you're with a girls' ministry at Rolling Road Baptist Church in Monroe, Louisiana, and so I hope you don't have a stalker. Anyway, one of the things that is a common misperception with girls is that you have to be in a relationship in order to be important.
Right.
So what do you say to your girls who feel that way, that they need to be in a relationship to be important?
It's, I encourage them to look beyond what they use to define themselves, such as relationships or the millions of other things that girls and women
Right.
use to define themselves, and think about themselves in terms of how God sees them,
Right.
and who He says they are. And that's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard when you have a whole culture who's telling you your relationship status defines who you are, your makeup, your hair,
Right.
your clothes, your
Right.
body size,
Right.
or not even your body size, your body shape.
Right.
Everything, that is you, they're telling you isn't you.
Right,
Your
exactly.
heart doesn't matter.
Right.
You know,
Be
you're
better on the
right.
outside, and who cares what you are on the
Exactly.
inside. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and two, I encourage them because it's, it is difficult. being the third wheel, or being the one who's kind of the odd one out when you have friends who go on double dates or whatnot.
Right.
But there are so many opportunities out there for young people, young girls, teenagers, when they're single.
Right.
That really aren't open to them. Some of them when they're in a relationship.
Right.
Being in a relationship is really time consuming.
Very
And I have so many. I have to remind sometimes some of my girls who are dating, don't let it take away from your friendships, because usually that's the first thing that goes when a teen girl gets a boyfriend is her friendships. And but then you think about all those relationships or other things that suffer.
Yeah.
And then you think about the relationship with God.
Right.
And when you, I have some girls who have taken a whole year off of dating, and they said, I'm going to date God. And some people are like, oh, that's so silly, you're dating God. When you think about how much time the average girl maybe put into her boyfriend, or she doesn't have a boyfriend, at the time she puts into getting a boyfriend,
right,
or seeking out the attention of a guy, if she was putting all of that time into her relationship with God.
Right.
So.
And that's the important thing. And I was thinking about that because a lot of guys look at girls that that say, I'm dating God for a year. No, that's just an excuse you don't want to date me. But the truth is, the girls that are doing it correctly, it's more like a fast. It's more like I am taking all of this time that I would dedicate to a human being in a earthly relationship, and I am transferring all of that to my relationship with God.
Right.
And so, that might clear that up for some people. And guys can do the same thing.
Definitely.
It's not that there's something wrong with dating or that you're going to go to hell if you date. It's just that there are other options out there. And, there are serial daters. What are
serial
those?
daters? Somebody who always has to have somebody.
Always has to have.
I've seen this. I saw this when I was in school, and I've seen it working with teen girls. They always have a new boyfriend. Actually, I remember this one girl from high school. We couldn't keep up with who she was dating, and we would see her and she'd have somebody else. I was like, well, that isn't the guy that she had last time. And then you find out that but there was two in between those two.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's just always having to have somebody.
Yeah.
And I even know of people who, either, maybe they get dumped, or they have a current boyfriend and that one's defective. There's just something they don't like about him.
Right.
So they dump that one and find a new one because out there somewhere is the perfect guy.
Right.
My Edward or my Jacob is waiting for me somewhere.
Of course. Yes, absolutely.
And the scary thing about that, and I was thinking about this the other day, divorce rates are like through the roof.
Yeah.
Everywhere. In the church, out of the church, they're everywhere. And I got to thinking about how our kids, from early ages, how they date.
Yes.
They always, even in kindergarten, they've always got a new boyfriend.
Right.
The first time that one makes them mad or does something that irritates them or gets too clingy, instead of learning to work through difficulties in relationships, they're like, you're not going to do anymore, so I'm going to find me somebody else.
Exactly.
Well, that carries over into adulthood.
Absolutely. And we're setting them up to be dissatisfied and to get a divorce.
And fail.
And you will. And I hate that for them. I really do. Because the problem with serial dating is that you cannot have any kind of relationship with substance, anything that has any depth to it. If you're just looking for the next guy, you can't connect in any way that's important. And so that kind of brings us to the next question. So what do you think is the purpose of dating, or what do you think that the purpose of dating should be?
For me personally, we actually had this talk with some of our college students not too long ago, and we were talking about why date.
Yeah.
And the dating should be, the way the world a lot of times says is just, just to get to know somebody and see if they have the qualities of somebody you could possibly marry.
Right.
For me, I'm real big on friendships first, and being friends, and so I think you're friends, and then you find somebody who has those qualities.
Right.
And that's where dating comes in. Dating should be, see if the person who has the qualities of the one is compatible and possibly the one.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense. And and I think that is a common misperception, is that dating is so that you get to know people.
Right.
But friendship is really the place to do that. And then dating is the place where after you get to know them, then you can grow in knowing them even more.
Right.
But then, because we do that, then we get in trouble. Because the more we reveal about ourselves, the more intimate that relationship becomes. And the more intimate relationship becomes spiritually or in that connection, then physically we want to expose more of ourselves too. And so, you know, I always think that this is my advice to boys. I'll always say, you know, you should return the girl the way you found her.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You should cherish her as a daughter of the king. If she is a Christian, she is a daughter of the king.
Right.
And he is watching you. And he does care for his baby girls. And he does not want them to suffer pain that they can suffer if you don't treat them with respect.
Right.
And I also tell girls that you should remember that the guy that you're with is most likely someone else's husband.
I use that one a lot.
Because it's so true. And you know, another thing is, like, I think about this a lot because I was the opposite of you. Like, you didn't date a whole lot and I dated a lot.
Right.
And date a lot gives you a lot of room for mistake.
Right.
I made a lot of mistakes. And there are some boyfriends that, thank goodness, I don't really know them. Haven't even really connected with them on Facebook because there is so much embarrassment connected to that relationship.
Right.
Like, I always tell somebody, if you can see yourself sitting at dinner with that person and their spouse and you're not turning red and feeling shame, that's the point that you should be at. You should have nothing that happens within your relationship that you're going to feel shame or guilt when you meet their wife. You know?
And a lot of times when I'm talking with either my girls or maybe another girl and this gets brought up, and I'll say, you know, you should remember that when you're dating somebody that they might be somebody else's husband. And, you know, they'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
right.
But you also need to remember that somewhere out there, some other girl might be dating your husband.
Right. Exactly.
And then they all go, oh
yeah, it's
no,
on.
wait a minute.
Yeah, what's she doing with him? Exactly. It takes it to a whole other level.
It really does.
You know, but hopefully she's listening as well as you, so that you're both respecting one another's spouses. But I think that's a really great way to keep in check, you know.
Definitely.
Leave the girl the way you found her. Don't add any more damage to her because unfortunately many girls are already damaged by the age of 13. And respect her. And respect is so misunderstood too, you know. Respect means respect her body as well as her mind. Do not be abusive. Do not force her to be intimate with you in a way that she's not comfortable.
Right.
And vice versa. Girls, don't push him to do things with you because you want that connection if he's not ready for that. Because there are guys out there who are strong and don't want that and are trying to save themselves. But, you know, they have two speeds. It's stop and go. You know,
Right.
And if you hit that accelerator, you better be prepared because you don't know what might happen.
Right. Definitely.
So, is there any? Well, and that kind of leads us to the next thing. You know, is it possible to date someone and not give at least a tiny part of yourself to each person you date? You know, we hear that a lot. We see the model on the chalkboard with, you know, this person had sex with this person, had sex with this person. It's like, before you know it, you've had sex with 1 million people.
Right.
But dating, you're still giving a part of yourself.
Right.
Is it possible to do that? Is it possible to date and to be in a relationship without giving away some of you?
It is. It's possible. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is very hard because, you know, I know back in the 90s, early 2000s, a book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye came out. And my mom went out and bought it for me.
Yes.
I was 13. I hadn't even dated.
Yeah.
But I was kissing dating goodbye.
She didn't even want you to think about dating.
Just go ahead and kiss it goodbye now. Now. But it raised a lot of interesting points. And one thing that Josh Harris talked about was about giving away parts of yourself, not just, you know, physically, but emotionally. And how, you know, if you if you invest all of who you are into a person, into a relationship, and then that relationship ceases to be, you do lose part of yourself. You've given part of yourself away. A lot of times, and this is really true of girls, a lot of girls, they wrap everything they are into this guy, and he might be a great guy, but they decide to find their identity in him, in their relationship. They let go of friends. I've seen girls give up activities that they always enjoyed. They give it up because they want to spend more time with him. Well, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
And sometimes it's,
on him as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I was going to say, sometimes it's the guy who's like, this is too much. I actually, a girl came to me one time and she was talking about this, and they were like 15 and 16. And she said, and he just said it was too much. And I was on the outside looking in, and I knew she had none of her friends left. They always hung out with his guy friends. Because she had no friends left, then she was just with him even more. I knew she had given up things that she liked, like piano lessons and photography and stuff. And so she was with him even more. That's a lot.
It is.
I mean,
a lot of time.
Even for married people, I'm not with my husband though.
No, I'm not.
I mean, I have activities that I enjoy. We have friends together, and then we have friends, we have girl time. They have guy time.
And it's important.
It is. It is very important.
Because that's where life happens. It can't happen in one another's eyes.
No,
it doesn't really. So then, another thing that you think about is, what do you think about people that are dating and they barely know each other? Like, oh, he's hot. Yeah, she's hot. Let's date.
That's dumb.
I agree. I think that's dumb. And here's why. Why? Tell us why.
You don't know them.
You don't know them.
I mean, you think, okay, there's a lot of crazy people in the world, so they could be crazy. But you don't know the background they're coming from. You don't know the things that they've experienced in their life. You don't know the scars that they have. You don't know them.
They could be serial daters. You could be the flavor of the week, and you don't know
the flavor of the day.
But you're thinking about him differently, but you don't know him. So, you don't know if he has a relationship with Christ. You don't know if he goes to church. You don't know... you don't know any of those questions.
And that's another thing is, think about the things about yourself that you might say, oh, I'm really smart. Or I'm funny. Or I'm this, or I'm that. Well, if he doesn't know you, why did he ask you out to begin with? Or if you don't know him, why did you want to go out with him to begin with? Because you don't know if he's smart. You don't know if he's funny. He doesn't know if you're funny.
It's just a superficial connection.
Extremely shallow.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be with somebody because of that.
No, you don't. And one date can send you on an adventure you never want to take. It's very true. So,
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that the word love is used too loosely?
Yes, I do. I mean, because, you love pizza and I love you. I love Jesus. I love John Mayer. It's like... I think there might be a difference in the extremes of love there. And
extremely, extremely, extremely like.
Yes. But it's difficult. I find myself doing that too. Like, oh, I love coffee.
Oh, we all do it,
Yeah, or I love chocolate.
I love Starbucks.
You know what? When I was on the radio with Philip Brooks at 88.7 FM, and he really got on to his daughters. Like, if they said, no, do you love it enough to marry it? Like, every time they said something, I love, would you marry it? He would ask me the same question, but the great thing is it really got me thinking about, well, no, I don't really think about it that way. And we were having a conversation one time, and I was thinking about the standard of love. Well, first of all, love has become so misunderstood and perverted in a lot of ways by the world. Because we don't understand what love is. Well, I think I love you, but then I really like my last boyfriend too. But I like you more than I liked him, so yeah, I love you. But then the next relationship, oh, I love you, so I gave him this, so I'm going to give you this because I really love you. And you can see how it can get you in trouble. But, and this may sound cliche to a lot of people, but God defines the standard of love. God is love. And he tells you what love is in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And that's not the way we model love. It really is not. Love is not often patient. Love is sometimes unkind. And I'm not talking about the love as the love is, but the love as we define it. Love is often selfish. I want to be with my boyfriend. I don't care if he wants to play football. I want to spend time with him, and I'm going to make him feel horrible because he didn't choose me. That is not love. It's really not. And so I think a lot of times when you're thinking about your relationships, and not even just your dating relationships, but your relationships with your family, with your friends, really think about, do I love them? Right. Am I willing to give of myself without thought in return? Exactly. Do I keep a tally of what they do wrong or what they do right? Mm-hmm. Am I prideful in this? You know, those are the characteristics of love that God set the standard for. Now, He is perfect love. He is the only one who's going to get every single one of those right every single time. Right. But as Christians, or even non-Christians, if you are looking for a standard for love, and what is love? Mm-hmm. God defined it, and you can find it in the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and it will rock your world, especially when you realize that that is how God loves you. Right.
I had, it wasn't a student minister, but it was kind of like a student leader in a student ministry. He kind of filled in sometimes, and he actually, when people say, "Oh, I just love so and so," he wouldn't say, "Do you love it enough to marry it?" He would say, "Do you love it enough to die for it?" Ooh. And you know, that really hits home.
Yeah, that does.
That really hits home, because you know, ultimate sacrifice is kind of like,
exactly.
I'm not gonna die for pizza.
Yeah, no, me neither. Or coffee, chocolate. I like it, but I'm not gonna die for it. Well, so that really, since we're talking about love and what that is, that brings us to another thing, that the truth is that our identity is found in Christ. And from the beginning, He is the one that created us with worth and for His love's sake. He created us, loving us even in the creation of us. He wanted us. And so I'm just curious, how do you help the girls that you work with understand that? What do you say to them?
The first thing isn't even really what I say. It's, I try to live that. Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah. And not just, I try to live it in my own life. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe that He defines my worth. Right. And that's hard because, you know, we live in this world where, you know, we have this perfect image or whatnot. Right. And I have to be careful about what I say about myself in front of my girls. And this really hit home with me when I had a daughter of my own. Right. And
who's awesome.
Thank you. She's a little parrot. She mimics everything. Yeah. And I'll watch her mimicking me. Yeah. When she doesn't even think I'm paying attention or whatnot. And I think that was my biggest lesson on how to help my girls that I worked with in ministry. Right. Because a lot of them have good, solid foundation, but some of them don't. Yeah. And for the ones that don't, they're going to pick up their cues from somewhere. Yeah. And a lot of the cues they're picking up aren't good ones. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I have to be careful how I live my life, not just the words I say, but because I can say all day long, God defines you, God defines you. But if I walk in there and I'm like, oh, I'm so fat today. Right. You know, I'm defining myself.
Or Kevin and I are fighting and I just feel like, exactly. I don't know how I'm going to make it through this fight. Yeah, right. You're exactly right.
So action, 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 action.
Always speaks louder.
Exactly. If I say that, you know, I'm defined like this by Christ, then I have to live that.
Absolutely.
So, you know, to me, that's the most important thing.
And I love that about you. And it is about being the example. And girls need to see that. And I have 2 daughters, and you have a daughter, and the pressure's on. Especially,
it is.
I have a 10-and-a-half-year-old who's like 10-and-a-half going on 16. And it's just really freaking me out. And so I can minister to teen girls, but they're not my own. There's a little bit of distance there. You know, I love them, but then I'm in the home with them. So it's 24/7 ministry. But
so what is some wisdom that you hope that your daughters take away from you and hold on to when it comes that dating time?
You know,
even though we know that's going to be when they're 35.
Right, exactly, 35, 36, exactly. But, you know, one thing that, and I pray this for my daughters, and I don't think that it's ever too soon to pray this, but I always pray that they will put Jesus first. Right. Because when they realize that He is the only person, God, that can fill that void in them that longs for love, that He's the only one who can fill their heart.
Exactly.
that's the most important thing. And then I want them to know that if the person that they like also feels that way, if Jesus Christ is his number one, that he will choose Christ before he will choose Maddie or Lily, then that is good. And that is what they want. And that is what I desire for them. And I think it really starts with understanding the love that Christ has for them. And that is the relationship that defines everything.
Right.
What would you say to Layla?
I think something that I was talking with a friend the other day, and they have a little girl who's about Layla's age, and they were talking about how they already have her, they already talked to her about one day when she's getting married. Because, little girls, they start early.
Oh, yeah.
Layla, the other day, she told her daddy she wanted to get married. And Kevin was like, whoa, wait a minute. And she goes, but you get to wear a pretty dress.
Oh, yeah. It's the fancy.
And then she was like, you could marry me, daddy. And he said, well, I'm already married. And she was like, oh. Well,
I know, we deal with that too. Lily is still mad. Lily is my 8-year-old, and she's still mad at me that I married her daddy first. Just so,
But I was talking to this friend, and they were talking about how their little girl had started doing that, and so they had started talking to her about, well, one day you will get married. And I want you to find somebody like your daddy.
Yeah.
And so maybe we should start praying about that.
That's awesome.
And so at, 4 years old, they're training her to pray for her future husband.
Right.
And so I think, with Layla, this has kind of all hit me this year because she is just turning 4.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
it will freak you out.
Because 13 will be here before I know it.
Right.
So right now it's just, realizing I need to start now. I need to start protecting her heart now.
Right.
Equipping her to protect her heart.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. And the same wisdom that we would want for our daughters is what we want for you. And we don't know you, but our hearts are invested in you because God has given us a passion for you and for your generation. So all of those things that we desire for our daughters are the same desires that we have for you, that you would put Christ first. And that you would look for the man that puts Christ first.
Right.
And that you would even now begin to pray about who God has for you. And what that might be and who that might be. And prepare you now for who you need to be for him later. And if he really is the one God has for you, then all you have to be is who you are. Because you're perfect the way you are. And so that's our advice for you too. Now, speaking of the way you are and as is, For the Love of Her is Abby's ministry organization foundation. It's phenomenal. You can also find them through TCMLive.com.
Yes, I think we're on there.
And also they're on Facebook and Twitter, right? For the Love of Her.
For the Love of Her.
FTLOH if you're looking for an acronym. But For the Love of Her. And it's all about the love of teen girls. But you guys just posted an event called As Is.
We did.
So tell me what that's about, because it's on Valentine's Day.
It's on Valentine's
February
Day.
14th.
We actually got this idea. I'm going to give a shout out to Miss Mary Cox from West Monroe High School. She was here. She shared with me something that she and some ladies at West Monroe do, and they call it White T-Shirt Day. And so I asked her the other day if I could borrow this and use this, and she was like, "Oh, sure, go ahead." And so we talk about how many hoops the world says you have to jump through to get love.
Yeah.
You know, you're defined by the way you look,
right,
and what size you are or your relationship status. Well, God doesn't define you by those things.
No.
That He already calls you daughter and loves you just the way you are. He thinks you're beautiful and you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And so on As Is Day, it's Valentine's Day, we're encouraging teen girls and young women everywhere, college campuses, high schools, junior highs, to wear a white T-shirt. And some of my girls are like, white, I hate white. Why can't I wear black? White represents purity.
Yeah.
And I don't care what your past is, that's how Christ sees you.
That's awesome.
You are completely spotless and whole.
Yeah.
And so you wear a white T-shirt, you don't wear any makeup. Cass!
Oh, yes.
Not even mascara.
What?
And don't do a whole lot to your hair.
Okay.
Pull it up ponytail, brush it. You know, don't go to school with bedhead.
Yeah,
you
nobody
know,
wants that.
Look clean,
Yeah.
brush your teeth.
Yeah, look clean.
Look clean.
Yeah, yeah.
But just go to school as you are. And if people, you know, and
Or
you
glasses instead of contacts, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
be free.
Yeah, free. And, you know, I'm hoping that enough people do this, that people will be like, well, what does this stand for? What does this mean? Next year, we've already got things in the work. Next year, we're going to have official as-is t-shirts. They're going to be white t-shirts, and they're going to say as-is on the front and then scripture on the back.
Awesome.
So that it'll be a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know some girls like, Abby Berry, I go to school like that anyway. What you talking about?
I love it. That's awesome.
But yeah,
that's great. You know what? Also, if you participate in As Is, if you want to join the event on February 14th, yes. Post a picture
on For the Love of Her. Yes, yeah. Go on there. We had asked everybody to do that on TCM. We're going to compile a big album and maybe even make a slideshow and stick it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. We want to see you. We want to see your beautifulness in your white t-shirt.
Yeah, and guys, if you want to wear a white t-shirt and no makeup, you are welcome to join us. We just don't want you to feel excluded.
And I know that some girls go to private schools. I actually had one of my girls call me the other day. She goes, "We have a problem. I have a uniform." I was like, okay, well, we can work around this. So, no makeup, no hair, and something white.
Right.
It could be a white jacket, hoodie, headband, cuff on the wrist.
There are ways. Yeah, cuff on the wrist. That would be interesting. People ask you about that. Why are you wearing that? That would be interesting.
We could do this.
Any way you can do it. Be inventive and show us how you were inventive. We like that. Well, okay, so we're coming to the end of the show. How sad is that? But we love you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. And we want to leave you, as they always do every week, with a bottom line.
Bottom line.
And Abby has given me the pleasure of sharing that with you tonight. So our bottom line is, the truth is that our identity is found in Christ. And from the beginning, He created us with worth and for His love's sake.
That's really powerful.
It is. Let that settle in your hearts and in your minds and realize that He is the greatest Valentine. As cheesy as it may sound, it is the absolute truth.
Absolutely. All right, so tune in next week. The guys will be here. We have no idea what that's going to look like. We're going to be watching with y'all.
Yes, we will.
In anticipation. Should be good. Larry and Sean.
Yes.
I'm a little scared.
They might have to raise the camera. Larry and Sean's what, 6'8", and Larry's 6'4", so that's going to be fun.
So, from us here at Teen Christian Ministries Live, we hope that you have an amazing night, and remember that you are loved and you are not alone. Good night.
Good night.